Enjoy this conversation with me, Maureen Kimani, every Friday from 9 a.m. on our Health Corner show here at Capuchin TV. Your health is your wealth.
A very good morning. We live in a society where men are taught to be strong, independent, and to be in control, whereas the ladies and the women are allowed to share their emotions or express their feelings. It is believed that men should not show their vulnerability. Well, this day or this hour right now, we shall be talking about men's mental health, because as we go by, as much we create awareness on the mental health, the stigma still exists on the men, and they are afraid to share the emotions. They don't want to talk about their feelings. And of course, joining me in the studio, we have a guest. As you can see, the scouts are here. They will be talking to us and telling us what have they come to do here to us today, and of course sharing about our men's mental health. And of course, on other part, we have Father from Capuchin, our brothers, and of course he'll be joining us also on this conversation and telling us about the religious part of it, that is the priest, the deacons, the brothers. Do they experience this mental health? Well, in case you have any question, you can do that on 0717-424-866, or you can use our SMS number, that is 21760. Welcome to the conversation on our Health Corner show right here with me, Maureen Kimani. Let's talk health. Very good morning to you all.
Good morning. Good
How
morning.
are you feeling being here?
Good morning, Maureen.
It's good to have you here.
Actually, it's an interesting moment for us too. Yeah.
I know you have much to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I think because most of you, it's the very first you hear in our Health Corner show, so it's good we start from my far right, and at least you can introduce yourself to the viewer, tell them who you are and what you do. And of course, tell them about your outfit. Why did you choose to wear that?
All right. Thank you so much, Maureen, for the welcome. First, I am really feeling excited and motivated to have this conversation for men. You know, it rarely happens. So my name is Makoha Pius. I am a counseling psychologist by profession, and I am a scout, as you can see. I am a member of the Kenya Scouts Association, and today we are here courtesy of a group, an initiative by the Scouts called Scouts Healing Invisible Wounds, which is it's a group of Scouts who came together to try and create awareness on mental health. And all our events and activities are not just limited to Scouts. We are open to all members of the community, whether you are Scout or not. So today we are here to share our thoughts and our experiences working with men within our organization and even within our different communities. Oh, wow. So it's a pleasure, and I look forward.
Thank you so much. I love that. Thank you so much, Pius. Yes, moving on to Father.
Yes, thank you. I'm also very grateful, very happy to be here. You see, when we talk about mental health, personally, it's a passion. It's a passion. So I'm grateful to join this great man and this lady to share our experiences about that. I am Brother Siver Kibu. I am a Capuchin, Franciscan brother. And I am a clinical psychologist intern. I'm a doctorate student at Daystar University. And like priests, as you have said, deacons, religious men, I think we also have difficulties when it comes to mental health. I hope that as we shall follow and go along with this program, you've got to discover much about what we go through. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Father Siver. Yes, moving on to our lady.
I'm Masinjo Roge, a student at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa, taking psychology. I'm a finalist, and I'm excited to be here, especially with the men. This conversation is going to be very interesting. As you go on, I'm hoping to learn and share more.
Yeah. Wow, you're ready to take up the task.
Very ready.
Awesome. Yes, last but not least.
Okay, I'm Shitsugane Bernstein, a student at JKUAT University doing mass communication. I'm part of the team Scouts Healing Invisible Wounds, an initiative that has been started by the Kenya Scouts Association. So I'm looking forward to sharing more about this.
Thank you so much all for making time, and not forgetting today is 30th of June, and of course it's a closure of Men's Mental Health Month. Yeah, for creating awareness. Well, let's get started on this conversation. How would you describe a man, and of course maybe characterize a healthy, mental healthy man? Bernstein.
Okay, thank you. The term man is a spectrum, as we all know. There is no clear indication or definition of the word man. But according to me, I will define a man as an adult human, a male that is, one who has responsibilities that they take part in. And as obviously many people know, that a man is supposed to be the provider or the strongest person in the family. But as we go on with the discussion, at least we learn who the real man is. Yeah.
Okay, and when we talk about the stigma in the society, I don't know if any of you have ever experienced or you have ever had a friend who was stigmatized or maybe not willing to talk about the mental health. Have you ever experienced that, brother?
Yeah, it's very common, very common. You know, stigmatization as far as mental health is concerned is one of the things that we need to see what to do. You see, people feel that once you are given that title, I will call it title, it's not a title. Once you have given that title, somebody with a mental disorder, you feel rejected. Yes, you feel rejected. So that stigmatization is something that the society itself, they need to work so much on it, so that these people should feel very comfortable, because mental health is just like a normal illness. You go to the hospital because you have some headache, because you have some body pains. It's normal, like mental health, which can also, there are medications, it can be handled, it can be managed. So let people not think that people with mental disorders, they are people who are just like outcasts. No, it's the same like any other disease or illnesses that we get to the hospital with. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Father. And I've ever interacted a man, and he once told me, I'd rather get slapped on my face than talking about my mental health. Because, you know, maybe once you open up, sometimes you get that maybe people judge you, maybe they don't want to help you sometimes. What would you say about the statistics of mental health here in Kenya, and of course in Scouts, Invisible Healing Wounds, maybe in your expertise? How would you say mental health as far as male person is concerned?
Maureen, I think there is no clear or proper numbers or statistics, especially in the Kenyan context, that has been recorded. That is another challenge that, of course, is affecting mental health. But averagely and globally, this is what is agreed. When it comes to mental health issues, women are at a higher rate. They have a higher rate of having mental health issues. But now when it comes to the suicide mortality, men are 2 to 3 times higher. So you find that we are having more men dying by suicide than women. And yet, when you look at the mental health issues, statistically, in the global sense, we are having more women having, recording to be having more issues. So it's, and that should even, inform us, like, what is it that we are not doing? What is it as men that we are not doing? Or is it that we are not coming out to seek help? Okay. Yes. So there is a higher number of men dying by suicide as compared to women. Yes.
All right.
And again, globally, also we can just try to put it down. Huh? We say in every 40 seconds we lose one person to suicide. Okay, every 40 seconds, and then WHO will estimate this to around 700,000 lives that are lost through suicide annually. And if that is the case, you can imagine maybe out of the 700,000 people dying by suicide, maybe it's roughly around 500,000 who are men. Yes. In the UK, in the year 2019, there's a study that was done, and out of the 6,000 people who died of suicide, 75% were men in the UK.
Okay.
So in Kenya, yes, we don't have those proper statistics, but the estimation is that most men are dying by suicide as compared to women. Yes.
All right, and that brings us to the next question. I'm sure maybe our viewers are asking themselves, why are we talking about men's mental health and yet we have a lady in the studio? Probably, and that takes us to the into whatever Pius has talked about on men dying more on the suicidal thing. Is it more likely that, less likely that men don't talk about their mental health compared to women? And what's your comment on that?
It is very evident, proven, that men don't open up. In a research done recently about how gender can affect our mental health, it was recorded that men die mostly by suicide. They are the ones who report having troubles with sleeping. They report suffering from being workaholics because they don't want to spend time out of work. They have high stress levels. A lot of things that show that they are dealing with mental health alone. While women, we have recorded a very big number of diagnosed mental illnesses because we open up, we go for those checkups, and yeah, it was also recorded that men have a lower number of diagnosed patients, and among those diagnosed patients, the ones that share with their family members, their friends, and open up that they have been diagnosed with this mental illness are about 0.7%. So it's evident that they don't at all share their problems, which is not okay. But I would want to know why.
We are also here to understand why.
Maybe Father will tell us maybe the reason why. And maybe Father, let me ask you, because the team has been able to talk about their areas of expertise on the field, that is scouts healing invisible wounds. What about for the religious people? Do they have mental health issues?
I think they do. And that is what people, they feel that priests are strong, religious men are strong, because we are always there for the people, you know, and we take a lot. But honestly speaking, I think it is time for us to verify the psychological state of priests, of deacons, and of religious. Like you see, because that stigma, like you were saying, we still feel it. We feel as if when they say you are depressed, it's because you are weak. Those with mental problems are not those who are weak. It doesn't mean that you are weak. And when you go through a mental disorder, let me say disorder in general, or you have a mental difficulty, many people think that is because might be you have been careless, which is not that. Do you know that even people who have a very good lifestyle, who are socioeconomically well-to-do, they can still get to depression. They can get to depression. I think this is one of the myths that people should understand. I am not going through a mental difficulty because I'm weak. And that's the issue men should understand, especially for us priests. For us religious men, we want to tell, because we work with the people, we want to prove that we are strong, and then we lack, that courage to present our weaknesses, especially when it comes to psychological difficulties. And we go through a lot of stress. We listen to people. At times we have compassion fatigue, but we don't take time to go about our self-care, and it leads us to a lot of stress. I think it's something important to see to it too. Yeah.
All right. I think something that men forget, it's okay not to be okay. And I think last time we talked about, Pius can attest to that, we said that mental health can affect anyone. It doesn't matter which race you're from, whether you're white, whether you're black, it affects anyone. But do people come forward to talk about whatever they're going through? No, sometimes they don't, especially for the men, because sometimes they can be referred to as weak men, cry baby, if you see a man crying, you know, and sometimes they forget there must be a time when one experiences a grieved moment. Maybe you lose a loved one, and you're not even allowed to show emotion because of that stigma in the society. What do you think that should be done, Bernstein?
First, there's the societal view of a man that needs to change, and this will change probably through the awareness, because of late, I guess, we don't have those people who come to the villages or meet people and tell them, if you see a man crying, it's good to encourage them, because you don't know whatever this man is going through. So through the awareness that should be conducted, at least majority of the people will understand that a man is just a normal being like that other person, to refer to the females. Because you find a female crying, it's okay, you just cry. But for man, you find a man crying, it's just obvious, you've been demeaned. Actually, even in a sitting of elder men, you're not allowed to go there. You'll be considered it's true, you'll be considered a crybaby. So through the awareness that should be raised, and at least majority of the people should be educated. And also, men at their personal level also need to understand that it's not that you are weak when you open up about something that you are going through. As well, we need to find those safe spaces that at least I have an issue I want to talk about, I find someone whom I can share with. This person first should be confidential, because I don't think I'll tell you something the next minute I'm the topic in a certain sitting. It won't fit in. So those are some of the things that should be done at this point, so that at the end of the day we find that men are able to open up freely without fear of any confliction.
Yeah, just maybe to add, Maureen,
yes,
and I really like that input. I think this conversation needs to start from a very early age. When we are having the young boys, they need to be trained. Like he's saying, it's about the society, the traditions, the values that we hold as a society. But now it is time, we've learned it from experience. It's time that we need to change that narrative. And the narrative can best start when we are very young. And that's why even for us as Scouts Healing Invisible Wounds, we are incorporating mental health programs, because, you know, we deal with young people from the age of 6. So if this young boy from the age of 6 is aware of what mental health is, he is aware and appreciate that when I'm feeling depressed, I can go out and seek help. When he turns to 30, it will not be a hard thing for him to come out and say, man, I'm not feeling okay, I need support here. But if you start from the age of 45 or 30 or 50, it might not be easy. It's possible, but it might not be easy as compared to when you start when a young boy is around 6 or even 4 years. Yes.
Maureen, to add on what our men have said, I love this conversation because the men surrounding me are yes. So as women, we tend to tell our men to be vulnerable, but when they do, we use it against them. So I think we should also work on ourselves, and whatever your man confides in you, at least don't use it against them, because that is then making them pull back, be reserved. They won't even share. So again, confidentiality.
All right. And before we move on to further, because I know he has something to add on whatever you have talked about, back to you, Mercy. You talked about the Scouts Healing Invisible Wounds. I'm sure you have been experiencing maybe or interacting with men who have maybe been dealing with mental health issues. What is your experience about?
My experience has been quite a journey. But most men don't open up. They'll give you excuses such as those, oh, I'll tell you and then you'll go and tell others. I'll tell you and then you'll attack me using them. But some bring out some very heavy points, such as my dad told me I should never be weak. Where I've grown up from, like, I have a Kalenjin friend, and he told me where he's grown up, he's not taught to be vulnerable. He doesn't know how to do that. So to train such a man to become vulnerable is very difficult. The journey is quite challenging, I would say, but we are working on it. We are really working on it.
Okay, and what are you doing to ensure that mental health for men well-being is preserved, and you create a good environment for them as scouts healing invisible wounds?
Maybe to support my sister in the scouting, I would say for us, we are very intentional about the boy child and men. We have different programs. But again, we are not saying, because if we start focusing more on men, at some point we'll forget the ladies, and the inequalities will come in with time. So what we are doing, yes, we are paying more attention to the male and the boy child within the scouting movement without, but also we are bringing on board, we are having on board the girls and the women. Actually, you can see from even the representation here. Yes, it's a men's talk, men's mental health talk, but we have our lady, coming in to give us their perspective as females. So we are trying to make sure that the focus, yes, is on men. We build on their resilience. We help them, start living a healthy life, but also bring women on board so that when we are all together in 2 years, 5 years to come, we don't have to now focus on men. We don't focus on women. We just talk about mental health that cuts across. So we have things, activities and programs that are grouped into what we call patrols. And a patrol, for example, and patrols or what we call friendship circles. So we can have like a circle, a group. It's more of a support group of just boys or men, like 10 or even 12 of them. And then you just encourage them with the support of one of our professionals. They have a talk, man-to-man discussion, boy-to-boy discussion, and things, the real issues like relationships, real issues like drugs, real issues like finances. You talk it out, and then you come to realize, okay, I've been thinking I'm the only one going through this issue, only to realize that maybe out of the 12, 10 of you are going through the same issues. Yes, you feel like, okay, I'm not abnormal. I'm not, I'm not the only one. It gives you that confidence. It gives you that, comfort of even going out. When I, for example, today, after this conversation, then I realized that, Father here also maybe is going through the same issues that I'm going through. I can easily approach him and say, Father, I have noticed that we are on the same boat. So how can we support each other moving forward? So we're just trying to create. He talked of safe spaces. We're creating those safe spaces for the young people. Because again, it's really unfortunate that as young people, and especially as young men and boys, we do not find these safe spaces within our homesteads, within our houses, within our homes. Our fathers, our parents are not creating these conversations. They are not creating these safe spaces for us. So we are taking this responsibility as Scouts Healing Invisible Wounds to ensure that as boys and as men, we have this conversation. And again, I'll take you back to the African setup. Maybe when we were learning about the age groups and the age sets, men were grouped into a particular, group, and then they were allowed to discuss their issues. They were mentored by, experienced men, people who've married or people who've gone ahead of them. But when you look back for this generation today, that is not happening. So that's why for us, we want to be in the forefront, or to champion for that, to ensure that men become that responsible people. They are, yes, courageous, they remain to be strong, but also vulnerable in the right way. Yes.
Of course, sometimes they break down. And
just to add into what he has said,
yes, okay.
We are also reaching out to these few individuals who have accepted, the few men that are out there who have accepted to share their stories. So with these few individuals, at least those that are at home will see if this man is live on TV, sharing his story. Why not me? Yet I'm going through the same thing that this other person has gone through.
Wow. Okay.
And again, we have our men on the forefront of advocacy. So.
All right, I love that. And I think with that, we're going to take a very short break. But when we come back, we'll begin with Father, because all of you have been talking a lot. And Father can tell us, do religious scriptures, of course, the teaching, offer some guidance to how you can deal with these mental health issues. We'll get that answer after the break. And of course, to you, our viewer, in case you have any question to our guests here, you can do that. And I'm sure they'll be ready to answer your question. If you have a comment, observation, if in case you have a story to share too, you can do that on our number, that is 0717-424-866, or you can use the SMS number, that is 21760. But when we come back, we shall talk more about men and mental health. Men and mental health, right? Thank you. Let's take a very short break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Enjoy this conversation with me, Maureen Kimani, every Friday from 9 a.m. on our Health Corner show here at Capuchin TV. Your health is your wealth.
Capuchin TV, huduma Katoliki ya uinjilishaji.
I am Bishop Joseph Mongela, Catholic Diocese of Kitui, and the chairman of the Pastoral and Lay Apostolate in the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops. I invite you and welcome you warmly to a national prayer day to be held at Subukia National Shrine. The theme for this year is Journeying Together as a Reconciled Family. We shall be led by the Metropolitan of Nairobi to come and pray together for our country, for our church, for each one here in our country, to live in peace with one another, to live as brothers and sisters, and to be reconciled, to heal the world so that we move together. We pray for peace, we pray for growth, and accepting each other as we work together as one family. We are all welcome to come and pray together, asking God to hear our prayers and heal our country and make us live as brothers and sisters. God bless you.
Kama ulivyo wingi wa nyota za angani, ninaomba Bwana uyajaze baraka maisha yangu. Rehema zinitiririkie, rehema zinitiririkie. Naomba furaha yako Bwana, naomba faraja yako Bwana. Ninaomba Bwana uyajaze baraka maisha yangu.
In every season of life, God's goodness remains constant and His mercy extends forever. Father Thomas Apil Yugi invites you all to Eucharistic celebrations in Thanksgiving as he marks his Silver Jubilee in the service of the Lord since 1998. Father Thomas continues to thank the Lord, his parents, the clergy, family, friends and benefactors who have walked with him in the priesthood journey. The Thanksgiving Masses are as follows: Sunday, 2nd July this year, at Our Lady of Fatima Catholic Church, Kongowea, Nyali, Mombasa, in the Archdiocese of Mombasa, starting from 10 a.m. Sunday, 5th November this year, at St. Mary's Catholic Church, Uriri, Migori, in the Catholic Diocese of Homa Bay, starting from 10 a.m. And Saturday, 11th November this year, at St. Paul's Cathedral in the Catholic Diocese of Homa Bay, starting from 10 a.m. This celebration will be live on Capuchin TV and its social media platforms. For congratulatory messages, contact Father Thomas on 0777 810-143. Capuchin TV congratulates Father Thomas for this milestone. As you celebrate this wonderful day, may our good Lord continue blessing you more and more as you continue serving in His vineyard. Happy anniversary, Father Thomas. Keep watching Capuchin TV, your Catholic identity channel.
Kama ulivyowekewa nyota za angani, ninaomba Bwana uyajaze baraka maisha yangu. Rehema zinitiririkie, rehema zinitiririkie. Naomba furaha yako Bwana, naomba faraja yako Bwana. Ninaomba Bwana uyajaze baraka maisha yangu.
Capuchin TV, kitambulisho Katoliki.
Enjoy this conversation with me, Maureen Kimani, every Friday from 9 a.m. on our Health Corner show here at Capuchin TV. Your health is your wealth.
Welcome back, dear viewer, to our conversation right here on our Health Corner show with me, Maureen Kimani, as we demystify about men's mental health. And while joining me in the studio, we have a Marco Pius that is on my far right, who is a lead psychologist. And moving on, we have Father Sever, who is a clinical psychologist intern at Daystar University, and we have Mercy Njoroge, a communication and public relation officer. That is, and last but not least, we have Bernstein Shitsugane, finance officer at the Scouts Healing Invisible Ones. Thank you so much, and welcome back to our second part of the discussion.
Thank you.
Yes, and before we went for the break, I promised our viewer that when we come back, we shall start with you, Father. Tell us, do religious scriptures offer maybe mental health, maybe way of dealing with this mental health? I think scriptures, the teachings.
Yeah, I think before I come to the teachings, the church as a whole fights for the well-being of humanity. And that does not dismiss also mental health. You see, coming to our own reality as priests, religious, seminarians, one thing we do before I come to what the church says about it is that we make sure that we identify those people with difficulties. That's why you see we have now what we call psychological assessments for our young candidates who come to religious life, who join priesthood. And this is to permit us to see their mental health level, to see how we can help them, not to check out whether they are fit or not, but to realize that type of help they need in this formation they are going through. And I would say that the church is teaching, especially social teachings of the church, they lay more emphasis, of course, on the health, but also on mental health. If you look at maybe letters written by many of the church's authorities, like I remember in 2006, the World Day of the Sick was consecrated to mental health. And Pope Benedict XVI gave a very nice message on that, giving the importance of how the church holds mental health. And secondly, you realize that the church is doing everything possible to create avenues for counseling. You go almost to all the parishes, you see counseling, you see people who are able to listen, people who are able to help. I think that's another positive way that the church uses. And scriptures, you see, especially from creation, you go to Genesis 1:25, we are created in the image and the likeness of God. And whether you are going through a difficulty, you're having a mental health issue, you are still considered as valuable as any other person who is, say, normal in quotes, because nobody is normal. Yeah. You know, mental health is a spectrum. You see, we have the mild to have the more severe. So you cannot just give people tickets that you have a mental issue. Yes. And that's why in the scriptures will not identify directly a mental health, you see, to say that this is bad or this is good, even with Christ. Yes. With Christ will say, when I was sick, you visited me. You see, to that we can identify Christ in those who are sick. So mental health, scripturally speaking, you see, or people with mental disability, they are very valuable. And that's why the church creates avenues for these people to be listened to be helped. Yes. I think that's very important. It's obvious that when you consider from that value, I remember like Pope John Paul II, St. John Paul II, you know, talking about the person in the image and the likeness of God, coming from this aspect of the creation in Genesis, gives back that value when he talks about mental health, and especially talking about people with disabilities. The church is getting now more concerned with those people. That's why we avoid now saying that somebody is crazy, somebody is insane. You know, it stigmatizes somebody. Better you say somebody with a mental disorder, because when you say mental disorder, it's a whole spectrum. Yeah, all of us here might also have mental disorder. We go through stress. We need some help. So I think if we can understand that, it will be easy for us to get to help many people. Yeah.
That's a good views.
Just to add, Maureen, what Father is sharing with us, I think I really appreciate the church. And the church, I mean, not just the Catholic Church, but churches across. And this is what I've noticed of late. They are actually incorporating mental health awareness sessions and activities within their normal programming. Okay, so you find that like for us, we've been inviting so many churches to go and speak about mental health. That is something that was not there, and that is a good approach. And I would really encourage churches across Kenya and even beyond to also incorporate these, you know, life skills, because they are also very, very important. As you talk about the mind, as you talk about the soul, remember there is also the mind. So when you bring these things together, then we have a holistic person, you know, someone who is helped in a holistic way. Yes.
Okay. And this question goes to Bernstein. What are some of the negative effects of poor mental health for men? And of course, Mercy will talk about for the female figure.
Okay, there are a variety of negative effects of mental health amongst men. Some are general, but some are hidden. Some of them could include how you address a person, the physical appearance of someone. You find someone who is not that intense to the point that he can be able to maybe dress up well or do something that is in accordance with how he's supposed to be. For example, this person does not take care of himself. He's just there. The physical appearance, cleanliness and all that, that's a negative effect. Also, there's the emotions, how you let out your emotions. We have people who have anger all around. Just talk to a person, all of a sudden this person may even abuse you for no reason. You are helping in a good way, but then the return or the outcome of whatever you wanted to do becomes the negative side of it. Others may include even just being unbothered and maybe risking your life to the extent that you may even decide that now that I'm going through this thing and I want to let it out, you'll decide to do some vigorous activities that are not in a position to help your mental health. For example, you say you overwork, that's a negative thing, like Mercy shared before. You are a workaholic, that's a negative effect. Even though you want to release it, but you're releasing it in the negative way. You find also a person may be foolish for no reason. Just think of eating much so that I can be full enough not to think about other things. Those are some of amongst many that we have.
Okay. Yeah, and of course, The effect of poor mental health, it includes even affecting your work, the productivity at your workplace. It means you not be able to give more results. Second thing, this goes back even to our relationships and our families. You have there are many issues. And you know, if you can remember when COVID-19 was at the apex, there was a upsurge numbers of gender-based violence issues. And this is because of we are bringing our issues back to our homes. And that affects, as a man, you know, you find that because most of us, we are the perpetrators of these violences. Instead of dealing with our own issues, we take it to our homes. Then there is generally, because all of us have been created with a potential and a unique talents, when we have that mental health, when we have an ill health, we are not able to actualize that potential. For example, if I'm supposed to be maybe the best orator, I cannot become the best orator if I have a mental issue. If I was to become the best surgeon, that is not possible with a mental issue. Okay? Yes.
Okay.
I think before we take the lady,
Okay,
since we are running cutting across the main issue,
All right.
I think the repercussions of or the negative effects of mental health as far as among priests, religious and seminarians is too great. You start having difficulties even in living your community life. You see, because when you go through a mental health issue, you can have a very low self-esteem. You see, you start blaming people right and left. You feel nobody cares. You feel nobody loves you. And gradually you get to depression. And to have a priest depressed is very bad. Then you see Christians complaining right and left. At times you say that this priest is very wicked because of the anger outburst, like he said. You don't know what is going through. Might be, those are signs of, those are the negative impacts that we have. And imagine such a thing. And it also leads to, you see, you have some of us priests, we have very poor health, what we call the psychosomatic symptoms. Because I can't handle relationships, because like you said, poor relationship is part of a negative, poor health, you see. I can't handle my relationships. It becomes very, very difficult for me. And at times it gives me, you can have some of us having things like gastric, stomach ache, headache, because we have gone to what that we call the psychosomatic diseases or events or effects of that mental health. I think it plays a great deal in the priesthood. So at times, please, when you get at times priest, especially when, you know, compassion fatigue, as I said, at times is very dangerous. You get father who is available the whole morning, listening to people. You get there by midday, he's tired, you say, Father, I want to see you, and say, go away. You feel that it's stress. You see, which at least we need to understand and see the negative issues of that. Yes. There's much to say about it. With time, I think we still understand a lot. Yeah.
And I think now we can move on to Mercy on the ladies' part.
For ladies, most of the effects cut across both, but there's one that stands out for us. Our monthly periods, they might either not come due to high levels of stress or come in like the way you did not expect, you know. So that is one. But to add on what they've not said, there's isolation, there's for new mothers postpartum depression. Yeah.
And I was waiting for maybe one of the men to talk about sometimes you find men deal with issues just to take alcohol, they take drugs. What about that? What do you want to comment on?
Say something. Those are things we call negative coping mechanisms. You feel good because I'm depressed, having issues in the family, especially in dysfunctional families, where you don't find yourself belonging. You feel that you have to go to the bar. And like, you know, Pio said something really important. during the COVID, we registered a lot of domestic violence because the coping mechanisms that we men we are using were a very bad coping mechanism. We didn't talk about that. We drink with friends. We get to drugs. I get people for counseling who are already addicts, who take wheat, who tell you when I take wheat on my problems, they go. You have just buried problems alive. And when they come, when there is no wheat, then violence comes in. Yeah, I think, as you have said, it's true. That's a very poor coping mechanism, which requires counseling.
And just to add on whatever the priest has said, and I think, Maureen, when we were coming here, I was just reflecting and I was thinking about when you look at our clubs, social places within Nairobi, for example, who are the majority participants or attendees in those places? I think that is something we should do a research on. Is it populated more by women or by men? But in my view, I think I see a lot of men. Yes. And the other thing about workaholic, when like on a Friday, where do women always want to go after work? Mostly they always want to go back home. Yes. But what about us men? The issue of going home is never the priority to most of us. The priority is we are going to that social place. And we need to find out what is the reason. And the reason is the home is not a safe place for this man. So you end up, of course, when you go to a club once, twice, even if you are not drinking, that peer pressure and the other factors, you may find yourself sipping one or two things here, and then before you know it, you are an addict. Okay, yes. So we as men, we are really using drugs and substance because we do not have safe places where we can go and share our issues. And I can tell you, when you go to that club and you find men drinking, they are always very generous and they talk about anything. In fact, if you want to do a research, just go to those clubs. You'll hear a lot of issues. A man will just approach you and they'll tell you everything and anything, because at least that is the place they view as a safe place for them to air out, and they're airing out to a stranger. Okay, and there's the other funny thing I saw there's a time I was boarding a matatu, and then randomly you sit with a stranger and then they start talking to you. They tell you their issues. This thing with the economy, I don't have school fees, I don't have food, and then they go. We really need to create those safe spaces where I know that, for example, right now, when I have a medical issue, I always know that KNH is there, I can drop in and no one will judge me because we have so many sick people, okay, and will be treated. What about mental health? Because of the stigma, when I say I'm going to Mathare, people start looking at me, have you lost it? So how can we change this narrative? How can we change this, especially for men? And actually, and you'll be surprised when you go to Mathare, a lot of them, substance and, drug abuse, people there, most of them are men. Most of them are men. So it means it's a challenge again to our sisters here. We really need to create a safe space within our homes, so that as a man, on Friday, when I'm done with my work, I'm always looking forward to go back home and I'll get someone to talk to. Thank you.
Of course, and not only for the ladies here, even for the ones watching us back at home and online, they can grasp something, and they can also be able to help their brothers, the nephews, even at workplaces. And that takes us to the next question to Mercy. As a PR officer, what do you think the institution should do to create a safe environment? Because Piers has been talking about they don't want to go home because back at home there's so many issues, family relationship issues. What about if we have good PR in the institution, in the workplaces? What do you think should PR people do to help the men who are struggling with mental health issues? What do you think should be done?
I think they should incorporate their mental health talks. They should call people like us to go talk to them. Then there's the giving them mandatory leave they should make sure that each one of their employees takes their leave to go and unwind. By the end of the year, they should probably, if possible, give a vacation to all their employees, if possible. Very, very, very key. They should also, I've had someone report that they cannot talk to their boss about them being mentally disturbed because they feel like the boss will lower their level at work or see them as incapable. So they should also take that into account. Me being mentally disturbed or having a mental disorder is just like me having a flu. It does not mean that I'm incapable. I might be incapable at that point in time, but I'll regain back with the right support. They should also have links with the supports, the right supports, so that if any of their employees is having mental issues, they can probably give them some time to go and link with the professionals. Maybe they can add more.
Maureen, I'll add this because I'm really passionate about mental wellness at the workplace. And this is a topic that, to begin with, once you get employed, you spend most of your hours at your workplace more than you spend at your place, right? So it means if your workplace is not safe, if it's toxic, it means it will affect you, whether you like it or not. And just to add on whatever things that my good sister said there is the WHO guidelines on mental health at the workplace. It's now very important that as an organization, as an institution, you at least employ one psychologist or one counselor or a mental health practitioner within your institution. If not, be able to have consultants, people who can come in and offer you periodic services, okay? And there are those regularly activities and programs that you can also incorporate within your normal day-to-day activities as an organization. For example, and she really talked about the vacation. It may not be that big, like going to Dubai or so. It could be just having a retreat somewhere where people are not going to discuss about, they're not going to review about what they have done, but just they are going to unwind, okay? It feels nice having a day or two off and having some activities like that address the physical wellness. And of course we know anything that really touches on physical wellness automatically addresses the mental wellness too. So how can we as organizations and institutions and even schools, how can we incorporate these within our system? And that's why even for us as scouts, we want this to be within our day-to-day scouting activities, that we know after we've done all the other activities within the scouting, there is a part of mental health. How are we feeling? Because we have feelings. Every day we feel something, even us, there's something we are feeling. Yes. So can we talk about it in a safe way? And when I feel like, okay, this is more, where can I get help?
And
you see, the church uses what we call at times the 1-1-1 method. What do we mean by the 1-1-1 method? I know maybe we are going to come to various ways that prayers and whatsoever can help to enhance that. When I talk of 1-1-1 method, I mean that as priest, as religious, as seminarians, as deacon, you need 1 hour a day for your meditation and prayer, and you need at least 1 day in a month for your reflection, for your meditation, and you need at least 1 week in a year for your retreat and your meditation. It's not only for spiritual purposes, it's also to regain back your operational system. And this is part of fighting also this stress. And every time you come out from a 1 week retreat, you feel a certain renovation in you. Every day you come out from 1 day in the month of recollection, you feel that refreshness. Every time you take 1 hour in a day to sit down and meditate, you still come back to that. I think that's another way that the church as a structure works on it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Father Sever. And I think because time is not on our side, so we're going to have a parting shot, at least 1 minute. You can say something generally on the men's mental health. And of course, starting with Bernstein, how can men, of course, at a personal level, help themselves also to improve their mental health? And of course, we'll move on. Just say your parting shot on the general topic.
Okay. So on a personal level, as a man, there are strengths, your personal strengths that you know that if I do this, I'll be in a better position to keep my mental health as healthy as possible. So personally, I think some of the talents that we have or the activities we feel that like we can do and be on the safer side would help a lot. Say for example, you know, I'm a footballer. I do game most of the time. So if the time that I feel I'm free, I'm able to dedicate it to football, the better. That will help relax my mind, as well as it will have incorporated the positive coping mechanism or the self-care part. Yeah, the self-care part will have incorporated in, and that's how I'll be able to grow without having the mental illnesses and whatever that is supposed to distract me. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bernstein. Mercy.
Our men out there, self-care is not feminine. Self-care is not selfish. Self-care is not self-indulgence. And just go to the spa, take some time off work, do something for yourself. Leave your girlfriend out of this, leave your wife out of this, take a vacation, go somewhere, just have you time. And if you have to cry, it's not wrong. It's very acceptable. You're human. So just go find a safe space. It doesn't have to be public. Find a safe space, cry, wipe your tears, come back feeling refreshed.
Yes,
yeah, that's great. At least they have touched the fundamental aspect, which I call the whole priest, religious. Have some time for yourself, self-care, and which includes exercises. Maybe when you talk about self-care, some other people out there, our televiewers might not understand. It means give time for yourself, to have some exercises, you see, have time to sit, you know, and have some awareness of yourself. And then the second most important thing, talk out your problems. Yeah, talk them out. This to all men, talk out your problem. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Father, for that parting shots. Your takeaway. Yes, Pius?
Thank you. I think for us men, because we are known for strength and muscles, let's be physically active. Let's go out, do exercise, let's go out, do gym, let's go out, run and what have you. It's important. It helps us. And find a friend, a buddy, someone you can relate with, someone you can go and you can call them, actually. Call them anytime and they'll pick your phone, okay? And you can talk to them about anything and everything. And let it be like that person also shares the issues with you. So it is a two-way thing. And then the other thing is just like my sister said, yes, men also cry. You feel like you want to cry. I'm not saying that you should go out public and just cry, but find a place, find a zone, whether it is in the washroom or wherever, cry it out. Cry it out, come out, apply some oil, and then go about to the business. Because crying is very therapeutic and very powerful. And then the other thing, for me, it's to the other stakeholders and the government. And I think the issues generally on mental health, and specifically for men, for example, we need to really be very intentional. And the way we took the approach, and then in the year 1999, the late President Moi was very particular on the fight against HIV and AIDS. And he made it like a national emergency or pandemic, a national emergency. And from there, the conversation has been different. The stigma was reduced. Right now, people don't look at HIV as something that needs to be discriminated against because we are living with them. So, what action, what approach as a government under the leadership of the Ministry of Health and all those, what approaches can we take? Okay, so that we take care of mental health. And in mental health, it's general, not just about men. But for men, let's be intentional about ourselves. Remember, your health is just for you. It's not your neighbor's health. Today when you are sick, it's not your neighbor who will be sick. When today you are depressed, it's not your neighbor, it's you.
Yeah.
You are the one who's going to feel the pain. So let's be intentional about our well-being. And when we take care of ourselves, we become more productive. We become more resourceful within our communities. And we remain to be the leaders of our families. We remain to be those people that families are depending on moving forward. Thank you so much, Maureen.
Thank you so much, Pius, for that insightful statement. And of course, we say your health is your wealth. And I think for my takeaway, the parting shot, you've talked about the crying. I think the Western community, the Luya, know how to deal with it on the disco matanga. And thank you so much to all of you for making time. And of course, I'm just going to read one comment here from Abdul Malik, who says, big up Scouts Healing Invisible Wounds and Capuchin TV. Thank you so much for making time. Thank you for coming here to share your informative session, your active participation out there, and your experiences to our viewers. And with that, you create a safe environment for the male, and of course not only for the male, for everyone. And because we've talked about mental health is affecting anyone, and it's okay not to be okay. And with that, thank you to all of you, to the team that has been behind the scene, that is Felix Juma, we have Charles Mavito, and Peter Mwangi, we have Kelvin Zisa, and of course the Scouts are Healing Invisible Wounds team out there. Shout out to you all, and may God bless you. My name is Maureen Kimani. See you next time.
Enjoy this conversation with me, Maureen Kimani, every Friday from 9 a.m. on our Health Corner show here at Capuchin TV. Your health is your wealth.
Capuchin TV, kitambulisho Katoliki. Kipaimara ni sakramenti yenye kumpa Mkristu Roho Mtakatifu na ukamilifu wa mapaji yake 7, kumfanya Mkristu mkamilifu na kumfanya shahidi hodari wa Yesu Kristo mpaka kufa.
Kupata kipaimara kama sikiza tuni yako, tuma neno sikiza likifuatwa na nambari 738100272 kwa 811.
Welcome to St. Mary's Mission Hospital, Mumias, a faith-based level 4 teaching and referral hospital, which for over 80 years has been offering affordable medical services to the people within Western region and beyond. Entrust all your healthcare needs to St. Mary's Hospital, Mumias. We are equipped with modern state-of-the-art medical facilities and supplies, which guarantee efficient 24-hour inpatient and outpatient services.
It offers 24-hour outpatient and inpatient services with an average workload of 5,000 patients.
We offer patient-centered healthcare administered on a daily basis by professional, compassionate, and friendly staff.
What I like mostly about the Catholic aspect is they nurture and employ both spiritually, and they are there for the employee holistically, and it doesn't matter where you come from or whom you are, they always incorporate you. and they're able to help you be able to exercise, knowing that as much as you're touching somebody's life.
We have established the hospital as a center of excellence in healthcare provision for more than 8 decades, delivering quality services to our vast clients, which include general consultation and treatment, maternal and child health care, nutritional care, radiology services, theatre services, ISO-certified laboratory services, physiotherapy, pharmacy services, sickle cell care, diabetic care, and other specialized treatment.
My emphasis will be on the specialized diabetic clinic that the hospital is offering, given the fact that these are non-communicable diseases that are very common within the Western region.
Our inpatient department is fully equipped with a male and female wards, maternity ward, newborn unit, surgical male and female wards, private amenity, and a center for diabetic patients.
If there is anybody who has diabetes, who needs dialysis, kindly come. We have a nephrologist who will see you once in a week. We give them food.
We accept NHIF covers and a series of private insurance providers and agencies.
Our mothers preferring to come to the facility, even if they are being taken elsewhere, they will prefer to come to St. Mary's Mission Hospital because their care is up to date. There is qualified staff for the maternity wing. We have the gynecologist who is always there with our mothers to ensure that they are taken care of well. Their babies are also taken care of well. And this makes our hospital to be well known around and far.
Mkikuja St. Mary's, you'll get the help you want. Hata kama uko mbali, they have an ambulance. You just call for emergency and then they come pick you wherever you are and you'll reach safely and you'll get the services you want. I'm so happy.
Visit St. Mary's Level 4 Teaching and Referral Hospital, located 1.5 kilometers from Mumias Town along Bungoma-Kakamega Highway in Mumias West Sub-County.
St. Mary's Mission Hospital is pocket-friendly, whereby we make sure our consultation fee it is to the minimum.
For more information and inquiries, contact us on 0789 712 382. You can alternatively email us on info@stmarysmissionhospitalmumias.org. St. Mary's Mission Hospital, Mumias.
We treat with care, God heals.
Enjoy this conversation with me, Maureen Kimani, every Friday from 9 a.m. on our Health Corner show here at Capuchin TV. Your health is your wealth.
My name is Sister Patricia Spate. I'm a Franciscan missionary sister for Africa, and I come from Ireland. I was appointed to Nakuru in Kenya by our congregational leader in 1997, and I was asked to look for the needs in Nakuru. So during that time, I was accompanied by a volunteer who showed me around all the very, very poor and marginalized areas in Nakuru. And that time I was to look for the biggest needs. So following the 6 months needs assessment, the biggest need was people wanted a community home-based care program for people suffering from HIV and AIDS. Because at that time, HIV and AIDS was rampant in the community and people were suffering a lot. and left to die because there was no antiretroviral treatment. We started our program in that little tiny room under a tree in 1997. And I called the program Love and Hope because I felt that this is what God was calling me to do for him and his people. As the years went by, you can imagine the needs changed. The basic thing was the HIV and AIDS, which is still with us today. But there are many other needs now that have cropped up and we have now reached out to. So a lot of people today are suffering from cancer. They're the very, very poor people that don't have any money even to get the basic drugs that are required, the radiotherapy, the chemotherapy. And actually they come to us in tears asking, please, please try and help me. Try and help me because I want to be able to live. I want to be able to give my children a life. But if I have no help, it means I go home and I die. So we follow the people up in the homes. We try to see if they can also help us so that we can help them. So it is one of the very, very big needs in the program.
We've known the Love and Hope Center as an organization that has been helping us with our patients in so many ways, because here we see the cancer patients, and Love and Hope have come in handy to help some patients in paying for their NHIF. They've paid for some patients for surgery. They've even helped some patients to get treatment for the condition that they have at Nakuru Level 5 Hospital. From 2018, the inception in May up to December of 2018, the numbers by then, they were not very high. We were doing between 10 to 15. But the beginning of 2019, now people knew so much about the center, and we started interacting with you and welcoming you to the hospital in case we had anything. So from 2019, the numbers rose triple that. And then in 2019, 2021, the numbers again rose to almost double that. So right now you are helping close to 120 patients from the Nakuru Level 5 Hospital. Yes. The burden in Kenya is, right now it's still quite high, even if we compare our numbers with Globocan, because we are capturing much of the disease in stage 4, where there's less for us to do. Yes, there's something for us to do, but we are going to reduce the quality of life if we had captured the disease earlier. For Geoffrey, I have known him since end of 2018 when he came here with adenocystic carcinoma. We started him on first-line treatment of chemo, and he responded very well. And then after that, we were on active surveillance to see if the disease is recurring or if the patient is getting better. And then 7 months after completion of chemo, he got a recurrence of the disease, and we put him on second-line treatment, which he did very well. But in between treatment, he got disease progression, and we decided that he should be on maintenance chemotherapy until we see that the drug is not working anymore. But so far so good, because the tumor which he had, it was very big. But right now, as much as there's small reduction, but at least there's reduction, we can see there's something the drug is doing. Yeah, so, and the Love and Hope Foundation came in handy because when his cover was depleted and we had to wait for almost 4 months before the financial year for NHIF started again, you people helped him so much. He has never missed treatment. He has been on treatment because you've always come here, you've always been able to pay for his bills, and he has always been on treatment. So we appreciate what you are doing and continue with the good work.
Nimekosa pesa, nitakaa nyumbani kwa miezi 3, lakini wakati mimi nilianza kunisaidia, mimi ninaona mimi ni watu wema, Kwa hivyo mimi ninaomba muendelee kuwasaidia hivyo hivyo, na Mungu awapatie nguvu na uwezo mwingi, ndio mtaweza kusaidia wengi. Mimi ninafurahi sana na mimi, hata sijui niseme nini, isipokuwa niseme Mungu awabariki.
Well, I would love to appreciate everybody who has come in handy at the Love and Hope Foundation. We really appreciate what you are doing for the foundation. You have helped so many. We would love to appeal from all of you. You have helped so many. Some of them even right now they are cancer free. For our well-wishers, what I'd request you to do, whatever you are doing is immaculate. We cannot even be able to pay you back. And we would hope and wish that you continue with the same, because you have helped so many. Not only the oncology services that are here and way beyond what we can be able to give at Nakuru Level 5.
To the local community and to the wider community, please help us to be able to help the people. And I'm really begging you, because at the moment we're in a dire straits. Donors have pulled out. During this time of COVID-19 last year, it was one after the other without any preparation, without any exit strategy. Nothing, because they were now dwelling in their own countries, trying to help their own people. So today I am begging you, please, please, if you want Love and Hope to continue, if you want us to be able to go out and serve the suffering people, and as you all know, Jesus is in the suffering people. When you give to us to be able to help the people, you are touching the life, God's life in that person. So I plead with you, I'm just pleading you with the bottom of my heart, unless you help us to be able to help the people, we are not going to continue, be able to continue. Do you want us to continue?